Dear SCPians, welcome back to this month's second Sunday episode of A Few Minutes With from the Seniors Growing Young group. Ravi Bale here again. I have with me today Ms. Nimmoo Kinga. Some people know her, may not be a whole lot of newcomers in SCP, so I would like to dig into through the conversation to know her better. And she has a topic that is very close to her heart that may resonate with a lot of residents in the SCP. We're going to talk about what do you want to call this topic if we have to give a headline to this, Nimmoo?
Yeah, I would like to call it as emotional well-being. We know that we are emotional human beings. Everyone says and accepts that we are spiritual human beings, but we don't really accept or are even aware that we are actually emotional beings. So emotional well-being is pretty central to our own happy state of mind.
Okay, that sounds quite intriguing. Now, let me know your journey to SCP, your origins, where did you come from to Mysore and to SCP and so on, if you don't mind.
My name is Nimmoo Kinga, and it is typically a North Indian name, and it is also a Sindhi name. The Kinga is one of those, like the Batijas, and you have the Ahujas, so Kingas are like that. And Nimmoo is also a typical Punjabi name. The Sindhis and Punjabis are more or less, very close.
Mm-hmm.
So my name itself says that I'm not a Kannadiga, and I happen to be here in the south all my life.
Did your ancestors move from Sindh of Pakistan side or?
You got it correct. They were in Shikarpur in Sindh, and during the partition, my grandparents and my parents had to flee from Shikarpur in Sindh and come down south. And it's quite surprising that of all the places in India, they had to come down south to Madurai. And that was because my grandfather had a stepsister married in Madurai, and that was the only help they had here. And I really do consider myself a South Indian in terms of the food I like, the people I like, and my friends, my closest friends are all Tamilians. So from Madurai, I came to Mysore in 1987 to take up a management training in Vikrant Tires as an intermediate company secretary student. So once I came to Mysore, I really fell in love with this place and decided to work here and live here. Fortunately, my sister was married here, so I had the support. And from there was no going back to Madurai at any time. I love Mysore.
Who doesn't love Mysore?
That's a question.
Now that's in few steps ancestral journey as well as from Madurai to Mysore.
And from Gokulam in Mysore, I came to SCP 2 years ago. And I think I landed in a really good place. Pretty happy being here. I really wouldn't like to be anywhere else.
Good for emotional well-being.
Perfect. Absolutely. Yeah.
Peace is an inside job, they say. So how much do you think external factors should affect our internal potential to become happier and peaceful in life?
I think I really like that question and a nice perspective of looking at emotional well-being. Definitely my emotional well-being takes a lot from Mysore and its beautiful surroundings and the slower paced life. Well, I know people who are living in Mysore who are still not peaceful. Okay. So I will not say that the environment makes a lot of difference, but it can definitely enhance your emotional well-being.
Mm-hmm.
If your surroundings are peaceful. If I were to live in Hyderabad or a bigger city, I would be very unhappy. I really cannot take the noise and the energy of the place itself.
External factors helping us to enhance. There still be significant number of people who are challenged because of different reasons. Maybe family, maybe their own nature, anxiety, or whatever may be the issue. How can one, even as a first step, recognize the problem?
Yeah, I would say if you want to bring emotional well-being down to the very basic understanding as being happy, then every human being has some degree of unhappiness or the other. We are not all emotionally stable all the time. So that imbalance in our emotions continues to be there. So this is exactly what I want to focus on. We go through a whole lot of emotions in one day. There may be anger, there may be fear, there may be anxiety, there may be sadness, there may be joy, there may be a sense of peace, there may be a lot of dissatisfaction. There are any number of emotions, many shades of gray. So we cannot say that we are going to be at one stable level of being fine with everything. We just need to be aware of this. Where we kind of slip is that we don't make it okay. We have been trained and programmed right from childhood that getting angry is not accepted. Crying in public is not accepted. Grieving over a huge loss for many years is not accepted. You have to move on. Let it go, let go, leave it behind, move on. And how very impossible that is. Your own nature pulls you towards all these emotions and you have to express them. So this awareness is what I would like to really focus on today.
It's like a boiler. You can't, just because it is designed to have a lot of steam in it, hot water, there is always a limit switch and a relief valve. To aim to live perfect emotional being itself is a stress. So we calibrate these if it is a machine.
Perfect. I totally love that comparison. Yes, emotions are boiling and bubbling all the time. And if you don't have a safety valve, or you don't have a method to release all those excess emotions, then we are really in for trouble. And how does that trouble happen? All those unexpressed, even unknown emotions are all suppressed inside. We don't want to look at them. And that's the bypassing we do. When you're angry, you say, no, I'm not angry. Damn it, I'm not angry.
There you are.
I'm not sad. No, no. So, and similarly, I would say, even for the happy emotions, when we laugh, how many of us really laugh wholeheartedly, loudly, freely, without really worrying about how we sound or how others are going to judge us? It's very rare. I myself have received a lot of disapproving looks when I really laugh loud, even in a family gathering.
I know, apart from those late night party laughing, when people laugh in the park or when taking a stroll, whether men or women, it really sounds nice, right? We are in the human living atmosphere. It's a reminder to us. Crying is way different. Laughing is easier. Now, how can we observe this and enable change in ourselves?
Yeah, there's no formula for it. It's just an awareness. So if you start noticing, I'm angry now, that would be a first step. Just admitting that you're angry. And if you're uncomfortable, well, this was something I experienced yesterday. I was so dissatisfied with the way something was working out. And I was so uncomfortable. I had to really pause and see what's happening here. Why am I so restless? And then I could pinpoint to the discomfort in my body and the discomfort in my emotions. I was really dissatisfied. I wanted something more, not the way things were shaping out then. And then I could really sit and address what is it that I actually wanted. So I could pinpoint the problem and then see what could I do. Where could I change something and where could I not change something? And that kind of brought in some balance.
Can you give me some examples or anecdotes?
Okay, talking about some examples. They will start with fear and anxiety. I had a friend with whom we have been friends for a long time. We would visit each other, have lunch together, etc. When I moved to SCP and I told her I'm on the 7th floor, she said I'm not coming there. And that was because she was afraid of getting into the lift. This is a very small fear, but it really limited her from visiting me. And then there are similar fears where we are constantly flooded by thoughts of what if? What if I slip on the floor? What if I fall ill? What if I'm estranged from my children? Who cares for me? What if I die today? There are so many what ifs and so many small anxieties attached to them. I'm really not saying that these are not valid. The anxieties and the fears are very valid. But what will make a difference will be if you're aware of them. You can really notice, yes, I do have this fear. Yes, I do have this anxiety. Just accepting it. It'll shift that extra pressure of hiding it or of bypassing it. Just bring it out into the light, just into your own light. That will help. And name it. Naming something really creates a big shift in the energy. Whatever it is, just name it.
So we have names for all the diseases to the body. We don't feel it as a stigma to say I'm diabetic and whatnot. It may be throughout our life from childhood, or it may trigger at some point in our life due to situational change.
Just name it. And once you got it out in the open, it's not going to really scare you more than it should. And then I would like to talk about anger. And I think when you think about anger, immediately I have this image of children throwing tantrums. They're so comfortable with throwing tantrums. It comes so naturally to them. And I have seen their family members trying to hush them, like no, trying to really stop them from tantruming. And I would say, probably it's very revolutionary and not acceptable, but I would say let the child have his or her tantrum. How will the child express what it is feeling? A 1-year-old has no words. It's all non-verbal. So just give him that space to express himself.
So parents need not feel embarrassed.
Yes, I do understand it is very, very difficult when it is in public. And I think if you do it at home and where it is a kind of safe place, even in our community, if a child is throwing a tantrum and if a parent is standing nearby, allowing it, I think that could be really accepted. And the child will really learn as the child grows up to express in a more meaningful and a more acceptable manner.
In fact, it may help in the public. If you already opened the safety valve in the home atmosphere, chances of that happening outside is mitigated, right?
Absolutely. You're really reducing the chances of depression, psychosis. You're really moving into more emotional stability and balance. I think all parents know a child cannot throw a tantrum for longer than, a minute or so.
Yeah.
It seems very long.
So it's an issue of tolerance of the parents more than the child.
Exactly. The more intolerant the child is, the tantrum becomes longer. Okay, so we have anger, we have anxiety, and the thing that really gets to me is the grief that we all hold. There's a grief over moving from one home to another home, being forced to move, or changing jobs, missing the environment you're familiar with. There's a grief over losing family members. There's a grief over losing your ancestral home, grief over losing money. There's a lot of loss in human life, and loss is always accompanied by grief.
So many of these are natural. Nothing stays permanent, as Buddha says. How can ordinary people like us, not like Buddha, but how do we get to prepare ourselves to accept some of these natural grief or causes of the griefs?
There's no acceptance actually. What I would say is give yourself time, allow the grieving process to happen, get support. Support really works, and give yourself time, and slowly you will find that the intensity of the grief reduces, and then you can kind of hold it peacefully. It may still continue. I know personally, I lost my sister 25 years ago, and I still carry that grief with me. And believe me, I've worked a lot on it. But I'm still so strongly connected, and I still miss her so much. But now I can tell you that I miss her, and I can feel the love within me. But I will not sit and cry or weep, which I did even 10 years earlier. So that's the movement towards peace. There's a movement towards being more comfortable with who you are, with how our life is.
So what about parents living independently? This condition is also a grief.
Yeah, definitely. We call it the empty net syndrome. I think everybody knows it. And there are ways of dealing with it. You can grieve and be grumpy and stay at home, live a secluded life, a recluse. Or you can really say, okay, that part of my life is over now, taking care of children and having their company. So I now have to make a new life. It's a new phase. Go through the grieving process, of course. You will miss them. You will miss them. But acknowledge to yourself that I do miss my children. And then move on. At one time, you will find that you have made a new space for yourself in your new phase of life. And at one point, you will be able to, meet and exchange and enjoy each other's company without the feeling of loss.
So the new set of friends and other family members maybe are from the society.
Yeah, more activity, also new activity. I know my sister, when her daughters went off to study for college and higher degrees, higher education, both husband and wife were alone at home and they felt they were really getting irritated with each other. And then they realized, they suddenly woke up to the fact that it's an empty nest and we don't know what to do. So the husband took on something else to do, and my sister started a new academy for slow learners, and she got really busy in her work. So both are actively involved in something else.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that reminds me of the arts and hobbies also, if not a profession. Mysore is a very vibrant city in terms of cultural activities throughout the year.
Yeah, don't hold back. Just dive in. Dive into life, dive into your emotions.
New connections.
Into new connections. Yes.
So you addressed anxiety related with fear, anger issues, grief. Is there any common themes that can resonate with our audience in Sankalp you want to talk about?
Talking about anxieties, we have this. I know of a person who is very anxious about what to do about her belongings. So she has some prized furniture, her grandmother's rocking chair, and her grandfather's tea cabinet, and she wonders, what am I going to do? Whom should I give it to? And then she goes into a lot of explanations. No, this one will not take care of that. This will not be valued.
So this is like a moha, attachment to non-living beings at the cost of internal peace.
Yeah, your peace of mind. It doesn't matter where your belongings go. If you can find a home, trust that those things will find a home.
Yeah.
Live in the moment. Live in the present. Live in the moment. We really don't know what could happen the next moment.
Okay, Nimmoo, I have a question on taking stock of what we have and be appreciative of that.
Yes, I think you can really up your happiness quotient by adding appreciation of everything in your life. Well, start with very small things. We have so much to appreciate here in SCP. We have the lawns, we have the open spaces, we can watch the moon at night, and really feel the breeze. We can watch children playing. Anything that appeals to you. You have friends here, you have people talking, you can go for a stroll with someone you know. So appreciation will definitely bring you into that balanced emotional state, which is akin to peace and happiness. You can again go back to naming it, and it creates its own ripples. You'll find the energy expanding. There's more expansiveness.
Ripples. I like the word ripples. Yeah.
Yes, I like it too. Ripples out to more people.
Okay. Nimmoo, thanks very much. Some of these are really lessons for myself here. Frequent, if not constant, reminder, application of what we already know from our inside. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ravi. I do agree, we all know this. I just wanted to bring it into awareness. I'm really happy to have met you and had this conversation.